On today's show, a fishing trip with father and sons. But this day on the water means much more than just trying to catch a muskie. We catch up with a Minnesota craftsman working on a new mission to build a better board. And we explore a Minnesota sport with origins dating way back to ancient Egypt.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Bill and I welcome you to the show.
You know, everyone wants to try and catch a fish, right? But for one father, his last wish is to fish alongside his sons.
Travis Frank introduces us to Dean the Marine.
Time waits for no one. Like wind and the waves, it moves at its own pace. Dean Jan can't stop time, so he chooses to cherish it.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Are you ready to catch a muskie?
Yes, I am. It looks like a gargantuan beautiful day.
What are you gonna do when you catch it?
I'm gonna yell, scream, and holler.
I'll yell with you.
Dean's boys, Derek and Jeremy, will yell too.
Yeah, this is a dream for him. I mean, like I said, all last summer we hunted for muskie. Didn't get a follow, didn't get anything.
Today, I hope to change their luck. It won't come easy, but a muskie in our boat will grant Dean's wish. A wish that might be his last.
I was diagnosed 17 months ago with stage 4 lung cancer, and it's untreatable.
That shook my world. Yeah, it's still.
Tough for all of us. You know, it's a tough pill to swallow.
We're gonna do what the Jans do. We're gonna go out. We're gonna crack jokes. We're gonna smile. We're gonna fish.
Slap and giggle. This morning I said, we're gonna make this count. We're gonna swing it out of the park.
Dean Jan has spent a lifetime swinging for the fences. Fresh out of school, he joined the U.S. Marines, serving 8 tours around the world.
5 continents, 16 countries. I wanted the hardest thing I could do on the face of the earth.
Everywhere Dean went, his camera followed, from the Marines to his time spent outdoors with his boys.
You mean the world to me, more so than anything on this planet.
Growing up, you get embarrassed. Like as a kid, you're like, oh, Dad, stop taking pictures. Now it puts things in a new perspective.
Like a true Marine, Dean fights his cancer with pride.
It's a fight and never give up. Point blank, just never give up.
Fists clenched, he waits for another fight, hoping that a muskie finds his bait last.
Him, and me. Remember, I had 2.
Dean caught his first muskie years ago. Now it's time for his boys.
And that's what's gonna make my day when they catch one.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. See her? Yep. Keep going, keep going. Get your blades to spin. She's behind it. Keep going, keep going. She's chasing.
Did you see that thing?
No, I didn't. Big fish, wasn't that? That was huge. Come back.
Our first encounter with the muskie quickly turns into another. And then it happens. A fisherman's nightmare.
I think we're gonna have to postpone this muskie trip. Yep. We gotta watch out for that lightning, so we'll... Dean, you all right postponing for a little bit?
Yep.
That was a big lightning bolt.
Wow.
In the midst of a storm, Dean did not catch a muskie, yet his wish has come true. One muskie follow was all it took for his passion to pass down to the boys he loves most.
You don't catch one? Well, it's the experience. When I see that smile on their face, then I know it's not the end of the world or end of anything.
Being on that boat, being on that water, it's those memories. That's the most important thing.
Waiting out the storm, we're reminded once more that time waits for no one. Cancer waits for no one either. Dean would not fish with any of us again. Dean the Marine was 53.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota Select GMC Dealers, by the Yard Maintenance-Free Outdoor Furniture, Running Aces Casino, Hotel and Racetrack, and by Aluma Craft Boats.
Paddling on stand-up boards has become a very popular summer water sport around these parts. I bet you didn't know some of the most popular boards are made right here. Tim Shore's day job might be banking, but he really cashes in on his true passion at night. Tim sneaks off to the garage to build paddle boards. He first cuts and glues together the board tops and bottoms. A little sanding, and they look like this.
Ready to be glued up. So I find what's the better side of the two, this one being it. That will be the bottom of the board, and then this is going to be the internal bottom of the board. Like the kits you got when you were a kid, little balsa airplane. Just pop them out and put them together. That's kind of what I like in it too, because it literally takes about 5 minutes. Try to shave weight as much as possible. The whole kit, when it's all put together, weighs 2.5 pounds.
Tim builds the frame in 3 sections and then joins them with epoxy.
It's a 2-to-1 ratio on the mix, so I do 2 parts epoxy and 1 part hardener. This whole structure stays glued up overnight.
It's time to join the frame to the board.
The main thing is to get that center stripe pretty doused with epoxy. Yeah, you really want to have it sitting in epoxy and have it harden as much onto that wood as possible.
Tim lines the skeleton along an epoxy center line and then heavy lifting. Plain old cinder blocks hold the epoxied parts in place.
Basically try to do 3 at a time.
Tim uses a riser to create the perfect bend on the back of the board. Suddenly, you can see how strong these paddle boards become.
So basically, this board started out as 2x6x12 cedar boards as well as 1x3 aspen. Glued them up as panels, and we had a top and bottom panel that are identical.
He builds edge rails.
And you glue the nose and tail on, and you got a fully solid board.
After sanding, a few last cuts.
So I'm just cutting the excess off. Now it's ready for the glass.
Fiberglass, the board's protective cover.
2-to-1 ratio. If you don't mix the epoxy and the hardener correctly, you will run into a gooey substance that never gets hard enough, and then you have to sand the entire board off. It's not a fun process.
Well, we all learn from our mistakes.
The art is to get it evenly covered.
He uses a squeegee to rub out air bubbles and also compress the fiberglass right to the board. As the final product starts to dry, it sure looks like Tim has it all figured out.
You know, my goal for the year is to build about 30 boards. It's one at a time right now. It's cool, man. If you would have told me I was gonna build stand-up paddle boards like 5 years ago, I'd have thought you were crazy. First of all, I wouldn't know what they were. This whole process, it's amazing how things have kind of came together. Just worked out, all the way down to the name.
Oh yeah, a name. That must have been a tough one to figure out.
I don't think it's a fad. I think people are going to find ways to get out on the water, and this is a great way to do it. I don't foresee it going away.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Maple Grove Lock and Safe, your premier Liberty safe dealer.
Row, row, row your boat might be an old tune, but it's a new slogan for teams around the Twin Cities. Travis Frank documents the rhythm of rowing.
When morning dawns over Minnesota's Long Lake, odds are good something or someone will be there watching. Nicholas Miller rarely misses this morning view, but he's not here to watch the sunrise. He's here to help keep a rhythm. Nicholas coaches the Long Lake rowing crew, a young group that gathers here 6 days a week to hit the water.
This is our morning practice.
They're one of the latest additions to Minnesota's ever-evolving rowing scene.
We started this program in January of 2014. We pulled a whole bunch of boats together and got the kids together. We've been hard at it since then. A ton of young people right now, which bodes well for the future.
In long, thin boats called a shell, these kids slice through water with every powerful stroke. Long Lake's crew adds to Minnesota's historic list of rowing teams.
It's actually been here for as long as it's been anywhere in the U.S. The Minnesota Boat Club down in St. Paul is one of the oldest in the region.
Launched back in 1870, St. Paul's original crew paddled the Mississippi River in what will forever remain as Minnesota's first organized competition. Today, with a fresh look, the same rules apply.
The whole activity, when it boils down, is just a boat moving across the water as fast as possible.
On Long Lake, speed comes with practice.
Really focus on keeping the shoulders, the upper body ahead of the hips through the entirety of the drive.
And subtle messages.
This is our high performance rowing technique.
You have to balance the boat and you have to think about your technique, and if you're rowing with other people you have to match up with them, and it's just, there's a lot going on that you have to think about.
After 4 years of hard work, Emily Steinbaugh's skills have taken her from water level to unexpected heights.
I was recruited to row for Notre Dame. I'm very excited, yes.
All right, let's sit ready, ladies. Starting off at 22, 20, nice and long, get your rhythm together. Ready, all, and go.
It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding, and I think it's worth it.
From competitive crews to relaxed runs, Long Lake Rowing Crew offers something for all.
You kind of learn rowing from day one. Good posture all the way through there. People come into it completely fresh to it. It's not like baseball or football where you know everything about it and then you start. Keep your eyes up. If you're looking down at the boat, it's going to pull your head down. We're excited to be a part of, I think, kind of a new generation of rowing in the Midwest.
It's a great sport.
Just know, if you head to Long Lake to catch an early morning sunrise, odds are good you won't be watching it alone.
Up next, a Minnesota-bound classic all about our state's very own lake detective.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Kinetico, Mountain Dew, Radco Truck Accessories, BentCreek Golf Course, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Up next is today's Minnesota Bound Classic.
We all know there are plenty of secrets that hide under the water.
And Ron Shera meets the man who's tasked with solving all of them.
It's a quiet afternoon in the Uppercut Boxing Gym in Northeast Minneapolis. A few boxers here, sharpening their punches. One of them, an aging fighter named McComas, Steve McComas. He's a regular.
Steve is the most encouraging, hardworking boxer that we've had here. He has all those belts to prove it, so he's earned all of them.
You mean this McComas guy was once a champ?
Yeah, well, I just happen to have this thing here. So this is the first belt from 2005. And then after that, accumulated a few more. But it's been fun. Really, the work, of course, is in the gym and sparring. And then the tournaments are like, you know, that's the gravy. That's the fun stuff, too.
Fun stuff, huh? Only proves you can't judge a boxer by his best punch. Meet Minnesota's lake detective. Yes, that's what the old boxer really is, a lake detective.
We're gonna go around a couple nets. We have a net set right up here, a trap net. So we're doing a fish assessment. The fish are healthy. They do not seem to have a major load of any type of toxic chemical or anything like that. They should be as good as any other lake around.
Okay, boxer 1 minute and a lake detective next. Is that leading with your nose?
I was reading detective stories, and so my business card, my first business card said, Steve McComas, private investigator, I never sleep.
Truth is, McComas is well qualified to be a boxer and a lake detective.
I have a biology and geology degree from St. Thomas and got a master's degree in fisheries ecology. After that, I figured let's go and see if let's put this stuff to work.
Today, his clients are increasing as cities, lake associations, and watershed districts are confronted with water issues affecting their lakes.
We're on Lake Nokomis in Minneapolis, a nice urban lake, about 200 acres. The water quality in this lake, it puts it into an impaired status, meaning that there's too many nutrients and the clarity is not good enough. So we're thinking by manipulating the biology in the lake, we can improve water quality enough to get us off that impaired lakes list. Crappie, 8.5.
Crappie, 8.5.
Crappie, 7.5.
Where we're trying to rebalance the food web in the lake. There was too many bottom feeders in the lake and not enough game fish. And so by stocking walleye and removing the black bullheads, we hope to rebalance the food web.
Has the detective found solid clues?
The black bullheads are low, their population's low, and we are seeing an increase in plants. Not as much as we wanted to see, but hopefully in time we'll see a bigger increase.
Meanwhile, back at the Uppercut Gym, boxers spar, dancing in the ring, throwing punches, dodging punches, and dreaming perhaps of fame, fortune, and knockouts.
You know what? I figured out a while back that boxing would get me in shape for field work. And then being out in the field and wrestling with snapping turtles and everything else got me in shape for boxing. So it really worked both ways.
Well, I guess if you could face a snapping turtle, you can face a boxer.
Little snapping turtles have been some pretty tough opponents over the years. I got all my fingers though, so I'm still doing okay.
A boxer and a biologist.
That's the lake detective. I love his hat, too.
Well, that about does it for us today. Be sure to check out the Minnesota Bound Facebook page and drop us your favorite story ideas.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.